Hello and welcome. I'm Bob Lichter, and I will be interviewing individuals for Kenosha Voices, an oral history project for the Kenosha County Historical Society in conjunction with Kenosha Community Media. I am a member of the Kenosha History Center and have volunteered there since 2015. We hope that you will enjoy these programs. I'm with Kevin Ervin and Julie Rittmiller of Frank's Diner in downtown Kenosha. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Frank's Diner, how long has that been there in downtown?
1926.
Well, technically 1925.
25, that's true.
He got it there in 25, and then Anthony Franks, whose real last name is Frankitis, it was changed. He was Greek, and the city council of Kenosha at the time thought there were too many Greeks with restaurants into town, so they wouldn't give him a permit to open for about a year.
And it's an actual dining car, a railroad dining car?
No. That's a misnomer.
Okay.
So what it was manufactured that way. I don't know why, really, the design of it, but they put it on a flat car rail bed and then brought it to Kenosha. A lot of people also think that it had wheels on it and it rode the rails to Kenosha. That's not true. It was put on a flatbed and then they brought it here. Then they put wheels on it to wheel it over to where it was where it's sitting now. By horse, yeah. And this is 1926 or 25, like I said. And they pulled it by horse and then took it off the wheels and just dropped it there. And that's where it's been ever since.
So you're getting close to the 100-year anniversary.
We are, but we'll probably do something on the 99th year. That's more Franks-ish.
So there's other diners like that across around the country?
There were, but now, just last year, I was contacted by the granddaughter of Jerry O'Mahony, who was the manufacturer. It was his company. And she's, this is her life, so she's always been involved with these things. And she called me a year ago and said that that particular model is the last surviving model of that brand. Not the whole Jerry O'Mahony, but of that model that they made. So it's probably, we want to say, maybe the oldest diner in America is still existing.
We'll just go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Because the other, she said, either burnt down or just, it was built to last 30 years?
I think when you read the advertisement in the magazines, it was like 30 at the most. Yeah.
It would last 30 years. It really, there's the original car, the part of the diner, there's not a lot to it. Like the walls in that are like...
No, chicken wire.
It's like there's like a outside wall of tin or metal, and then there was like Julie said, chicken wire with plaster in it, a thin layer of wood, and then another layer of tile inside, and that's it. That's what it was constructed out of.
But luckily they bricked it
up. They bricked it up
around it
on the one side in ours. But they weren't built to be sturdy or last. And as a matter of fact, so this is, one of the funny stories about buying a diner. One year we started to notice the tiles inside were popping off the walls. And I did some investigation where it was, and that's why I found out how this construction was. I'm like, what's going on? Why are these tiles popping off? Well, then we looked at old pictures, and at one point in the car itself, there were retention rods, 3 of them, that held the walls together. Well, at some point, we don't know who, but we have a suspect, they cut them out because they didn't like the way they looked. Well,
they were actually down in our basement.
Yeah, they were down in our basement. And they were holding the car together. Well, once they cut those out over the years, the weight of the roof started pushing down on the walls, and that's why the tiles started popping off because all that pressure. So we had an engineer come in, and they figured out what to do. So now there's a steel plate inside the diner. It's hidden.
There's more than
one. And then there's another steel plate on the outside of the diner. They're an inch thick, and they're held together by these steel rods that run.
We put 2 back in the diner.
Yeah, to the diner. Now, technically, the way that they're built, there's a little piece of wood that hides them, but there's bolts. We could go in there and tighten the bolt ever so slightly, whenever we wanted to, and pull it back to shape. But I said, you know what? we're not messing with that because who knows what's going to happen then. It's held up. Everything's fine. I don't want to try to make it back in alignment because God knows what will happen.
So how long have you owned the diner?
13, going on 13 years?
It'll be 13 years, December of 2023, December 10th of 2023.
Bought it December 10th in 2000.
2000, yep.
So what inspired you to go in the restaurant business, and did you have a background in the restaurant business?
Way too much wine one evening. We thought it sounded fun.
Yeah, we thought it would be, we love this place, how fun it is to come in and visit. It's a whole lot of different world between coming in there to visit and coming in there to work, so.
And you're not originally from Kenosha?
No.
No.
Julie's,
I'm originally from Peoria, Illinois.
and I was raised in Chicago, though I was born in Milwaukee. I left Milwaukee when I was 8 and moved back to Wisconsin when I was 43. And Julie moved here. We moved to Kenosha in 2003. We got married, and she was working in Milwaukee at the time,
I was working at Kohl's.
Kohl's corporate, and then I had a family business in Chicago, so we had to split the difference, and Julie picked Kenosha.
I picked Kenosha. Drove down the lake one night.
And said,
Kenosha looks nice.
called me on the phone, said, I think Kenosha is the place to live. I'm like, all right, let's start looking for a house, and so we did.
So then you started going to Frank's Diner? Is
Yes.
that how?
Yeah, a couple years after we moved here, we finally discovered Frank's. When we first moved here, we didn't know anything about the town. So we were like, we're like foodie, restaurant people. We like to go out, have a good time. And we're on the west side of the city, and it was all brand new chains. And we're like, this is not for us, Let's find some of the cool places. So we started, every time we'd find a place that we liked, we'd ask like the wait staff there, where do you go? Where do you like to hang out? And everyone kept saying, you got to go to Frank's Diner. You got to go to Frank's Diner. So finally, one day we found it, and I think as soon as we
We
walked,
drove by it a couple times.
we drove by it a couple times. Yeah, but I think as soon as we walked in, we're like, oh my God, this place is. We love it. We love it. And then we fell in love with it and loved it ever since. So.
What's a typical day like at Frank's Diner?
Could be anything.
There's no such thing as typical, but
We open the doors at 6 a.m.
so staff gets
So it's
there.
usually a little slow at that time.
Yeah, we
Bunch of regulars, a lot just drink coffee.
Pump coffee. Yeah, we get there about 5:30. Turn on the grills, turn on the coffee makers, get the soup warmer going, stuff like that. And about like Julie said, 6 o'clock, we're ready to open. And we just start. It depends, it's divided. There's the front grill, so those people in the front staff, like the servers up there, they have their little jobs that they have to do. But in the back kitchen, we have a whole different set of things to do. Start making, getting the bread ready to rise, or cinnamon rolls, or maybe I'll have a soup to make that day, or a special to make that day, or if it's a Friday, then we start prepping for like the weekend specials, making whatever we need for the weekend specials. And so,
We do get a lot of third shifters, so from a lot of the bigger companies, Amazon, Uline, GFS, Meyer.
Yeah, they come in and they just got off of work, so they come in. A lot of times too, they'll come in on what is their Friday. That might be a Wednesday for us, but that might be the end of their week. They just got off of work and they come in
Want a
and
few cocktails.
they want a few cocktails. So they'll hit the mimosas and the Bloody Marys, a couple beer chasers, and start their weekend off.
So there's a regular crowd. And then
Oh,
you got
yeah.
There's regulars, and then
tourists.
there's lots of tourists.
Lots of tourists. But tourist days vary. Like in the summer, it could be any day of the week. But typically throughout the year, it's
Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
yeah, Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, however you want to look at it, because they're traveling, and they're either coming here or they're going someplace or coming back from someplace.
And we're like on the baseball route.
yeah, there's
lot of people
also
do like
that's in the summer.
The Cubs, the Brewers, and then go up to Minnesota.
Yeah,
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah. There's a whole. It's like an overlap of guys who like diners, drive-ins, and dives, and they like baseball. So a lot of times, like Julie said, we get groups of guys, or we get like fathers and sons who are, like she said, they'll go to, up to Milwaukee to see the Brewers, then they'll go to Chicago to see, the White Sox and the Cubs if they can get the schedule right, and then maybe head up to Minnesota or something. So yeah, we get a lot of that.
And then we get a lot of fishermen.
We get a
too,
lot of
that do the
fishermen
charter.
from Iowa. Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned diners, drive-ins, and dives. On your website, there's links to all kinds of.
Yeah.
I mean, that and Chicago's Best, We're Open, Man About Town, Sweet Hustles,
Yeah.
Katina Eats Kilos,
Yeah.
and the Dad Channel. I mean, there's
Yeah.
Yeah.
visitors from all these media
Mm-hmm.
that come to Frank's. So
Yeah, we get that, and then we also, people are always sending us things like, oh, you were voted #1 in this and #1 from that, and we're like, and we never know about it.
No.
No one
A lot
ever
of times
contacts.
it just gets printed or it's online and
People, yeah, they never contact us, a lot of the print media, they just do it, and we find out about it through third parties who are friends of ours who said, hey, did you see this? And we're like, oh, no, thanks.
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. And we were mentioned on, what was it, ESPN a couple months ago? A guy,
Yeah.
He was doing like some comedy routine, one of the sportscasters talking about the Packers, and he said, yeah, get down to Frank's Diner in Kenosha and get yourself a garbage plate. And we're like,
What?
what is this? And our son, who's a sports nut, he showed us. He's like, did you see this? We're like, no. And we're like, so we never know
we will
about this
thank
stuff.
anybody.
Yeah,
and
anybody
everyone.
wants to put us anywhere, thank you. Thank you
Customer,
very much.
staff, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
How many employees do you have?
Right
And
now we have
I-
18,
18. Okay.
Yeah.
but it's gone up to
We were in the
22, 23.
23, yeah, a couple months or a year ago or so, yeah.
Yeah, right after the pandemic. Just
Wow. So you have servers and
I-
greeters.
dishwasher,
Dishwasher.
servers, prep people. We've got
Cooks,
a
grill
guy that
cooks.
comes in at night to do some bread, that kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just,
And then in the summer we have the outdoor seating. The American Legion is kind enough to let us use their parking lot.
yep.
Okay. And with your staff, you hear about a lot of businesses having trouble finding people and keeping people. How do you hang on to your staff then?
And we've had a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been rough the last, not so much during COVID, it's been since COVID ended that we've had problems holding on to people who really want to work. Like Julie said, we have 18 staff members right now, but a lot of them are like some 2 days a week or 3 days a week. And prior years, we never really had it. We had people who wanted to work 4, 5, even 6 days a week.
Right.
And
now it's not.
now it's the opposite. We only have a few people who work 4 or 5 or 6 days.
And then right before COVID, we had a lot of younger kids that kind of grew up and left for college, left for jobs, but it all seemed to happen at the same time.
yeah, we got hit with that pretty badly. Yeah.
And with COVID, the 2020, 2021 COVID pandemic, how did you weather that? How did
We actually did okay sales-wise. I would say income-wise, you know, just with, you think of the expense of all the to-goes, because for a while we were only open for to-goes. And then bleach, cleaning stuff, masks that we handed out.
Oh, like everything, like small, the ketchup packets, silverware that had to go
and
onto
anything,
everything.
you had to throw it away right
Yeah,
after it hit
yes.
if nobody used it, because somebody
Yeah.
had touched it.
so there was a period of time where you couldn't even go to a restaurant.
No.
No, you could come in and get it to go. We also did a little bit of delivery, as long as you were like
Within a certain radius of the
From the
place.
diner.
Yeah. But yeah, so we would, we did all right, but like Julie said, revenue did drop, but it didn't drop horribly, or we didn't.
There weren't a lot of restaurants open downtown.
Yeah.
I think us, Sassy B.
Yeah, I can't remember. A few others, I think,
not a whole
Villa
lot.
de Carlo, but
So for breakfast especially.
oh,
So we
breakfast,
did,
it was
yeah.
really just us, yeah. And then,
We did some dinners
yeah, we did some take and bake kind of things and stuff
for
like
Easter,
that.
Mother's Day.
So people get prepared food and bring it home and warm it up themselves. So
Mother's Day was actually a record.
yeah, Mother's
we
Day
couldn't
was a
even
record.
service the people.
It was, yeah, we had some people mad at us. Just couldn't take care of them. We were like, sorry.
So back to your employees again too. With your regular employees, do you have activities with them like outside of work?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do some things. We do dinner nights. Sometimes we'll host something at our house. Like we'll have a movie night at our house, or like the
Halloween, we always do.
Halloween, Super Bowl, a bunch of people came over. And we also, a lot of our staff is Marvel movie fans, so when a new Marvel movie comes out, a lot of times we'll do Marvel movie night, and we'll take them and a significant other out, and we'll get about 3-4 rows of the movie theater, and everyone gets snacks on us, and we
Yeah, or after a big day at work, we'll just hit some of the local pubs in town.
Yeah.
Just take the group.
go out,
Nice.
have a couple beers together for the ones that are drinking age.
Of course.
We tell the kids, sorry, wait a few years and then we'll take you out for a beer, but yeah.
Has the business changed at all in the 13 years when you've ran the diner, other than the COVID pandemic?
I don't think it's probably changed in 20 some odd years. We tried to really go back a little more to our roots. The garbage plate was what we're known for, what people like. So rather than trying something entirely new, we'll try it in the garbage plate. So we have spinach now, which I know doesn't seem like a huge thing. Different, feta cheese. We do a lot more, I would say, vegetarian garbage plates. We've added chicken, turkey. We've even done some Asian cooking, different barbecues. Whatever the trend is that would make sense with eggs, obviously.
Yeah, you'd be amazed at how many things we can get into an omelet. You'd be like, that doesn't sound like it'd be an omelet, but it works and people like it. They like that variety, I think.
The garbage plate, I mean, you could walk in a diner and see maybe a half dozen or more,
more
on the flat top
Yeah.
grill at one time. And that's potatoes and eggs and whatever.
Green pepper,
It starts
onion.
with a bed of hash browns. We add green pepper and onions to it.
Jalapeno if you want.
Jalapenos, 3 or 5 eggs if you want a half or a full. We know that doesn't work out mathematically, 3 or 5 eggs. And then you pick up the 6 meats or 6 cheeses, and you can add extra vegetables like spinach, Julie said, or tomatoes or
Mushrooms,
or
zucchini.
zucchini. You can throw that in there too if you want. So I don't even know the math behind it, how many computations there are of a garbage plate, but they're in the millions.
And then our homemade bread is very popular too, so you get the homemade toast with that.
Yeah.
And we kind of make fun of you if you don't
If you
try
don't,
the homemade.
And I saw a lot about the garbage plate challenge, breakfast challenge.
Yeah.
That looked like a pretty serious endeavor there.
5 pounds of food in 45 minutes, and you can't leave the table, so no bathroom break, and we've had plenty of people throw up, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Right on the table. We had a guy about 2 months ago, actually. This is so disgusting, but he threw up on his girlfriend who was sitting across from her.
I wasn't
And
there that day.
she stuck with him. I mean, if I were her, I would have left right then, but she helped him clean up and was, oh, you're all right, honey, and all that. And I'm like, whoa, that's a woman that loves him. He should marry her right now. So.
And that's the full garbage plate
Yeah.
plus pancakes.
3
Big
pancakes.
pancakes,
And our
garbage
pancakes,
plate, and the
yeah.
toast.
Our pancakes are the size of a plate, and they rise to about that big. So if you get 3 of them, it's like a little layer cake. It's a lot. It's a lot of food. Like Julie said, it's 5 to 6 pounds, depending on who's making the garbage plate. And yeah, it's a lot of food. A lot of food.
How many people have completed it? There's a wall of fame, isn't there?
There is.
There's a plaque, I would say.
I think we're at 30, but
Okay, yeah.
but in the years we've only the 14 years, there's a few hundred people have tried it
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
failed. So.
And we have, what, 2 girls that have...
Two,
Two women?
three,
Three now.
Three
Three women that have
women have
done
done it, and all 3 of them were Julie's size, tiny little things. So
Smaller than me.
not even maybe smaller, but yeah. But they were not big women at all. So the first one they were like, you got to be kidding, and she did it, and it was like, okay.
Most people, I would say, are happy. That is my one.
Yeah.
I mean, they're happy people that finish it and do it.
Yeah. Okay.
I know, but
They're not happy when they're stuffed. They can't move.
What about downtown Kenosha? What's the vibe or the pulse or the atmosphere of downtown
it's-
Kenosha in
I
2023?
think it's really good right now, especially evenings. You just see way more people out walking around, restaurants and bars, just seem
Yeah.
shops all seem
You come
crowded.
down on a Tuesday night, you can't even find parking sometimes, which is crazy.
Yeah,
When we first moved here in '03, there was like one or two restaurants
and
downtown.
a couple shops.
That was, the Why Not had just opened, and yeah, there was a
and the
couple of
boat,
shops
it's a-
down at the yacht club.
yeah, what was that called? Bluefin.
Bluefin, that had just opened, but that's not even really downtown. That's further down. But you know, there was the boathouse, of course, and all that. But the old school places. But down near, you know, our end of the downtown, there wasn't a lot happening. And now it's booming. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, they got 5 or 6 bars just on 6th Avenue, restaurant bars that serve good food and stuff. You know,
And the
Apis.
breweries now, and
know, yeah.
hotels.
You got-
Yeah, it's
You have 3 or 4 buildings that were almost torn down and have been, you know, reinvigorated with new life in them. Like I said, the Iserman building, you know, Iserman building that got, you know, turned into the Apis Hotel restaurant. It's great.
and then the
Public
apartments.
public
That's too-
brewery in a building that was about to be torn down. Even like, you know, Herzing University moved into the Kenosha News building. That's a weird configuration building. I mean, if they didn't move in there, that building could have been empty for 20 years, you know. But thank God they moved in it, and they've turned it into a viable place. And so there's a lot of cool stuff happening, and more's happening. You know, the mayor's got his downtown projects about to start. I mean, they're tearing down the old jail building, the old police station, and moving forward with, you know, where the new city hall will go and other construction. And like Julie said, all these new apartments down by
We really
us.
feel it like on a snow day where we used to be like, oh God, let's just close at 11. It's
There's
not that we're
people.
busy, but there's definitely
Yeah.
people.
There
Yeah.
are people who just walk over because
Yeah.
they didn't
You
go
can
to
tell
work.
they're walking
you know?
over.
There's a
Yeah.
lot more people living.
Yeah.
Much. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of denser population now, and yeah, just a lot of different options
activity.
and fun stuff to do. You know,
Especially in
so-
the summer too.
Oh yeah, in the summer, it's really with all the activities. Yeah, I'm really positive about town. I mean, we always were. Even before we bought the diner, we were like big fans of downtown. Where I was like, this is like it just needs a little polishing, and this will be something happening. And I think that led to us. One of the reasons we bought the diner too is because we wanted to be part of that. So.
What about technology over the decade plus? Changes in technology affect your business?
Not at Frank's.
We still have a landline.
Yeah. We did have to get
We
a
do have,
credit card machine.
yes, during COVID.
COVID.
Because with the to-goes, so we do have a credit card machine
Yeah,
now.
I made doing to go was real easy, and that was it. I remember we put on the Facebook and then, oh, Frank's now takes credit card, and everyone was like, what? And I said, yeah, we're gonna get a fax machine
machine.
now too next week. As a joke, but yeah.
Maybe you'll get a pager to work.
Yes,
Yeah,
my
one of
beeper. But yeah, we don't. You know, we're old school. Our staff writes stuff, hand writes them on tickets, and
But
puts them
kind of
up
the
on
way
the.
we work, because we will probably move to a system of some sort. But the way we work, when we, sat down and try and plan that, the paper's easier
Yeah.
for staff to write out the orders. Because you think of what goes into a garbage plate, and you have 4 of those at one table.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just easier for us to be old school, analog, no digital.
Analog, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're above, tablet and stone. We're not doing that. We're not that primitive, but
Tree bark.
yeah, we're pretty old school. But it works. It works, and yeah.
What about local, national, or world events that might have affected your business?
Well, we were lucky with the riots. We didn't get upset. I mean, that didn't affect our building physically. No damage was done there, thank God, or anything. But the shutdown around that time, that it affected us.
That was in 2020.
2020, and then
We were closed for 3 days.
Closed.
But most of it we were helping clean up.
Yeah, we were doing cleanup in downtown, and then we helped in uptown for a couple days. But I think nationally, once the Rittenhouse trial started, we had a lot of international and national press in town, and then
when Trump came in, we had the whole SWAT team.
Yeah.
And at the diner.
During the Rittenhouse trial, though, one of the reporters found us on lunch break, and next thing we knew, the next day we were packed with reporters. So
all different.
All different, all over the world, all over the
but
country. But
all conservative, liberal. It was
everybody
kind of funny.
Yeah. So they would come in once there was a lunch break. We'd all of a sudden know. We'd like, okay, lunch break, let's go. And they'd all fill in. So.
Yeah. And then different sporting events too. We'll get.
Sometimes.
Well, we'll get news people in.
Yeah, they like to come when the Packers and Bears play. Sometimes they'll come in, interview.
Presidential campaigns too.
Yeah, and they'll come in and talk it. Because we're like a little slice of Americana, So.
What's the best part of the job?
I'd say meeting people.
Sometimes that can be fun. Sometimes it cannot be fun. But there are a lot of nice, really friendly people who've come through our doors over the 13 years we've owned it. That got meet from all over the country and all over the world who've come in, and pretty fun, pretty nice people for the most part. Yeah, that's fun. I also like coming up with some different dishes. That's creative, and I like that part. Just like hanging around, and sometimes I get to hang out in front and just tell stupid jokes, and I like that.
And it's nice too, just having your sales increase. I mean, being part of that driving force, coming up with new ideas.
Yeah, I was going to ask who comes up with all the recipes.
That depends. I mean, I come up with a lot on the weekends, but
I'll tear things out and just be like, here,
yeah,
do this.
she'll just say, here, make this happen. I'm like, okay, I guess. But our manager, Josh Fugate, he's
Does a lot.
pretty creative too. He comes with a lot of different recipes and a lot of ideas. But we're open to any staff member. We always tell them when we hire them, like, if you got something you want to try, let us know.
Yeah.
And, we'll throw it on the board for a weekend, see how it goes, and so.
And we'll shop different restaurants
Yeah.
when we're on vacation or something, just to get ideas. If you're down south, there might be something new and different. And out on the coast.
It's always part of our routine when we're on vacation. We have to try as many breakfast restaurant places as possible, see what we can borrow from their menu, so to speak. So,
Most challenging part of owning Frank's Diner?
Some of the people.
Some of the people. Yeah, some people can be challenging, customers-wise, and
Just sometimes because we are small.
Yeah.
When you can't, if there's a wait, we close at 1:30.
It's
Sometimes we have 14 people on the waiting list. Now we'll take you if you're on the waiting list before we close, but we know people have dropped off too, and that can be a little frustrating.
It can be frustrating for you, but it's a double-edged sword. We're a very popular place, but we're a real small place, and people see that and they go, oh, look at that cute little place, I want to go there. But then they get there and it's like, yeah, we're really small and we can't fit all the people we would love to fit in there, and we cook everything as it's ordered, so it takes a while, and that with being small, the time element, it builds up, and you can wait an hour just to sit sometimes, and then another half hour to get your food.
Well, because people don't think, okay, if I waited an hour to get in, then obviously it's going to take.
Because we can only fit so much food on the grills we have. There's laws of physics. It takes a certain amount of time to cook, and once you're in there, we don't really rush you out. We like, okay, you waited. We're not going to like kick you out now. So sometimes people sit longer than they should, but we try to let them do it. And so that's kind of frustrating more on our end, that we feel their pain, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. We feel the pain of the customer, like, God, yes, I wish this was twice as big and I could get you all in to sit and you'd be happy.
But then it wouldn't be as cute.
But it wouldn't be as fun. So it's part of it. And back in the day, pre-COVID, we used to have a line behind the counter where the customers would wait. So they were actually part of it, and I think that eased them a lot. Like, oh yeah, I'm having fun. I'm in this line. I'm being part of the jokes and this and that. Now when they have to wait outside or in their car, they're not included anymore. So I think that just is like, why am I waiting so long, So, but I think
We'll get back to that.
if we can ever get back to that line inside, I think it'll help a lot of the people understand what the place is, and they'll really get a bigger kick out of it. Because that's what we loved at first when we first came in, being in that line and
sitting at the counter.
Sitting at the counter, joking with the staff as they were working, and we were just waiting to get seated and talking to the people next to you and stuff. So,
In the nearly 100 years of Frank's existence, a lot of people have come through that door, and some celebrities back in the old days when the theaters were open downtown, Kenosha Theater and the Orpheum Theater with a lot of live entertainment. Who all has come through the doors there?
Oh, Liberace, Duke Ellington, Lawrence Welk.
Stooges.
The Three Stooges is one of the most famous. Moe, Larry, and Shemp. They sat at the counter in between their matinee show and their evening show, and Don Franks was the original owner's son. He was like 16 at the time, 15 or 16, and he was waiting on them, and he said, "I don't even think you guys are funny." And then they proceeded to do like a whole routine around him at the diner. And at the end of the night, at the end of that, they gave him 4 passes for him and his family, so they went to see them that night. Bela Lugosi came walking in, same thing. He was doing a matinee performance, and he had a little bit of time between to come and get some food. And he walked in with his full Dracula costume, because he was doing like a one-man show of Dracula at the time. And everyone stopped and looked, and he just went, "Good evening," with his cape, and they all clapped. And he had oyster stew. For some reason that was...
Then it was more of a dinner place.
It was more of a dinner place, and some reason someone wrote that down, what Bela Lugosi had for dinner, or late lunch, whatever it was. So we know that, he ate that. Mark Ruffalo, Kenosha's homegrown boy, has been in there. And
that 70s show?
Topher Grace from this 70s show was in there recently. His wife is a Kenoshan, so they come to town periodically and visit, and they stopped in last summer. Lovie Smith, who was an ex-coach of the Bears. Number of Packers over the years just stop in.
Yeah.
And a lot of celebrities in Chicago, like local news celebrities and stuff like that.
And Milwaukee news
And Milwaukee
people.
news people too. They come in and have breakfast.
Any other little anecdotes you'd like to share, experiences maybe?
Oh, I don't know. We have customers calling up all the time asking me stupid questions. It's always fun. I had a guy once call up, wanted a BLT. I said, okay. He says, but I don't want lettuce, mayo, or tomato. I said, so you want a bacon sandwich? He goes, yeah, and I want a fried egg on it. I go, okay, so you want a fried egg sandwich with bacon? Oh, I guess you're right. Stuff like that happens almost daily. One guy called up, I want elephant ears. I go, well, we don't sell elephant ears. And he's like, yeah, I just got them the other day. I go, elephant ears at Frank's Diner. He's like, yeah, I get elephant ears all the time. I'm like, we don't have anything called elephant ears. He goes, well, they're pancakes, but I call them elephant ears. And I go, well, I call you an idiot. And I hung up the phone on him. So stuff like that happens all the day, every day. People don't want me to even answer the phone sometimes because I just can't tolerate it sometimes.
Or is there a wait? And it's like, well, at the second, no, but
Yeah.
if you don't get here for an hour, there might be.
Yeah.
We've had people do that.
Or-
well, you said there wasn't a wait. The person on the phone.
Yeah, I called 2 hours ago. Or people say, what's it going to be like, on Saturday at 2 o'clock or 12:30? I'm like, if I could predict the future, I go, but I'm going to tell you it's going to probably be busy. Yeah. One guy called on Mother's Day, the busiest restaurant day anywhere. Are you guys busy? I said, yeah, we're very busy. It's Mother's Day.
When we had the line, we would just turn the phone and let
Yeah.
the customers answer the question.
And then and I hung up on him, and then he called right back. He goes, "You were the rudest person I ever talked to on the phone." I said, "You think that's rude?" I went, and then hung up the phone again. So I don't have good bedside manner.
No,
I
he
guess.
does not.
Right. Are there certain rules at the diner that everybody follows? I heard.
Be nice or leave.
Be nice or leave.
Now that doesn't include us.
That doesn't include staff. Order what you want, eat what you get. If you want coffee, get up and pour it, but you better pour it for the whole diner. Those are a few of the ones I
Big
can
ones.
think. Yeah, the big ones. Yeah.
So it's all about the basics. The basics: breakfast,
Yeah.
lunch, coffee.
Yeah.
And I know that sign in there: order what you want, eat what you
you
get.
get.
What if I
Yeah.
walked in and ordered a quiche Lorraine tart with a double shot, half calf soy milk caramel latte?
I
extra
think we'd
whip?
laugh at you.
If you were one of the people who called that in, I'd hang up the phone on you.
We did have one time I had a family and the man was, "I'll take a bottled water with a lime." And I'm like, "You're going to get like Michigan in a glass." And I'm like, "And if I'm nice, maybe a lemon."
Maybe a
And
lemon.
they just looked at me and then they did start laughing, luckily.
Yeah, I've had people ask me that too for stuff like that, and I say, "Well, you want a manicure, pedicure too? This is not a spa. You are not on the North Shore of Illinois or of Chicago right now, folks. So save that stuff for there."
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have.
All right, cool.
And thank you very much on behalf of the Kenosha History Center
Sure.
and Kenosha Community Media for participating in the Kenosha Voices project.
No,
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.